Just grab them in the brisket.
How about now? Yeah, is that better? See how that works?
Sometimes.
We work together. You know.
You're loud, just normal talking, but when you get animated and you like, and then it just spikes the whole.
Just like that.
That's exactly what he does.
Just like that.
Yeah.
How about now? Am I good, John?
Yeah, you sound perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah. You always do, man.
I say dumb shit, though. Okay, fair enough.
It just sounds weird. And we're back with a fresh new installment of Grab 'em in the Brisket. I'm your host, James Moore, and I'm surrounded by...
Morons.
Exactly. Good Lord. How do we ever... It's so awkward and confusing trying to come in with an intro that's like, you try to plan it out and you go, hey, let me just go and put down a couple of words on a piece of paper and go ahead and try to script this, and we're going to make this like Emmy award-winning introduction, and then when the light comes on, it's just crickets. You can't think. You're like, what? Let me read this. And then it sounds weird. Nah, screw that. Hey, welcome to the Grabbing the Brisket podcast. This is James.
This is John.
This is Jan.
I am Alden.
Alden. Yeah, Alden. Give him the business.
Man, we got all the places you want to find us on social medias, dude. Twitter, Instagram. You can email us, Facebook. Email us. It's not at. If you email us, it's just grabinthebrisket@gmail.com.
That's correct.
Twitter is @grabthebrisket, and Facebook and Instagram is the same. It's @grabinthebrisket.
Yeah, and I'll just follow it up with we'd love to hear you guys' stories, your barbecue fails, wins. We've gotten quite a bit of submissions, and we're going through them. But I mean, just keep them up. We love them. We'll get to all of them, and we'll read them, and it'll be awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, just for people that are, hey, if you're not listening to the podcast when you're cruising to work or coming back from work, or maybe you're working out or just doing whatever, cleaning the house, why don't you guys, we can go around the table, and why don't you give the guys and gals maybe a suggestion on a artist that they can possibly maybe not have ever heard of, but to check out because they're pretty awesome.
Why don't you start it off?
Okay, I'll go with I'll start off. I'm a big, huge Texas country fan, so I'm going to suggest Randall King.
Okay.
That guy, check him out. He's got, I think, very new up-and-coming artist. He was just recently, and I think he tours a lot in Texas, and I'm sure he goes all around, but it's RANDALLKING, King. And recently, I think he played in Green Hall here in Texas with Garth Brooks.
That's pretty good company, man.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty good company.
He recently just tweeted out last week, or maybe it was this week. He was in, I think maybe West Texas, North Texas, or whatever, and somebody broke into his tour bus and stole one of his guitars. So it was like a Gibson.
Was it Rick?
Huh?
Was it Rick?
It might have been Rick, but
Fucking Rick. It's a big
Fucking
deal.
Rick.
Let's say 80.
something acoustic guitar, and I don't know the backstory of it, but I mean he's trying to get it back. I think worth like about $1,800 or whatever it is. But so he put it out on social media and he's trying to get it back. But listen to his music. I mean, the dude, great voice, awesome.
I like a lot of, obviously Texas country. A lot of the artists I listen to in Texas country aren't made for radio. But if I had to say somebody that I just like listening to all the time, JB and the Moonshine Band, they're solid, and it's funny because the call letters are so close to KC and the Sunshine Band, you know what I mean? But they play stuff that's not really suitable for radio, so that's probably why they're not getting out there. And a lot of these Texas country artists, they play what's on their mind and stuff like that, so they're not getting, noticed by the radio stations because they can't play it, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, again, with us being in Texas, I mean, we're really accustomed to hearing the country music, and I mean, we love it, and we got the mainstream country, which I mean it's okay, but it's not really our forte. You know, you start listening to some of the artists that are coming out that are Texas country and maybe, you know, Oklahoma and some of these other states that are kind of underground, not mainstream. Badass artists. I mean, and there's quite a few out there that probably don't come in as a country as much as they're more of kind of a southern rock type deal,
Right.
which is awesome.
Like Whiskey Myers falls under more probably the southern rock category.
Yeah, Whiskey Myers.
But you can still listen to him on like a Texas country red dirt road channel. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So that leads me into my band, which I thought Whiskey Myers was a great, lead into that, whatever. Little band called Leonard Skinnerd, right?
Yeah, that's an unknown.
Unknown.
And what do they play?
Southern rock, kind of similar to what Whiskey Myers does. No, so there is a band out which they're probably pretty getting well known, Greta Van Fleet, which they are kind of like a Led Zeppelin-y type rock country rock band.
Very talented.
Very talented.
Yeah.
That I think, if you're really going to get pumped up and if you're going to work out or whatever, that's always a great probably tune to listen to. John, what do you got? What's your go-to music?
My go-to?
Something,
I'm going to give a shout-out to somebody we've probably already given a shout-out to.
Okay.
Rich O'Toole.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm stuck on his music.
Mississippi Baby's still one of my.
Yeah. On
That's a
Spotify,
solid
it's all
song.
on there. Check it
Yeah.
out. He's got some new ones out. California, sweet song. Check it out on Spotify. His shit is awesome, and he's rocking some of our shirts now.
Really?
Yeah. He
Nice.
posted about him today.
That's because that boy is solid.
Let me tell you about my morning though. This is actually yesterday morning. Most of my mornings start the same. I get up
What time?
6:45.
Okay.
So I get up, I take my number 3 Maddox to school. I'm usually back by 7:45ish.
Okay.
So sometimes I lay back down with my daughter. She's only almost 2. So we roll back out of bed around 9:15, something like that.
That is awesome.
I put her right in the shower. I go straight to the toilet. I've been there maybe 2 minutes, and I hear her screaming, "Dada! Dada, poo-poo!" I go, "Ah, shit." You know what that means. If you have kids, and they're in the shower, and you hear them yelling poo-poo, you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I immediately jump off the toilet, run over there, and I'm like looking around, right? Like,
Were you done yet?
yeah, it didn't matter. I was done at that point. Like, everything was done. So I run over there, and I'm looking around. I don't see anything, so I pick her up, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's not out, but it's coming. So I pick her up, and my bathroom's pretty big. It's probably 10 or 15 feet from the shower to the toilet.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm carrying her, stiff-armed, mummy-style, Frankenstein-style, out in front of me, naked, running to the toilet. I take about 3 steps and step in something. The first log had fallen.
Oh, I thought it was yours as you were running.
No, that was hers. I take about 2 more steps, and I kick the next one across the floor. So about 4 more steps, I make it to the toilet. I set her down, and she looks at me with her beautiful eyes and tells me, "Dad, I'm done."
Obviously.
All done.
Yes,
You're
you
welcome.
are. And I, did the little limp with my foot, up in the air to keep from tracking. Took her back to the shower.
Right.
Spent the next 10 minutes or so cleaning.
That's phenomenal.
My kids are probably considerably older than everybody else's, right? So Kylie's 18 now.
2 in college.
But she was probably about 2.5, 3, somewhere around there. And I'd come home. I'd worked a lot back then. I was basically, I'd gotten home probably, early that morning from working all night. I was like, I'm just going to get in the shower. Usually I would hang out with Kylie for a few hours. Then we'd take a nap. And then we wake up, and then that evening I would go back to work, type deal. I got home, and I basically was like, I got her in the shower and got her ready, and I was going to take a shower now, and I just basically pulled her out and wrapped her up in a towel, kind of. And I said, just hang tight, let me just finish up, And usually she was really good about it. She would just sit down on the floor or something, and I hear a noise, and I'm like, literally, I just put shampoo. I mean, like, all I have to do is shampoo up. And that's it, right? I'm done.
Shampoo in the hair.
Yeah. And so super fast, I hear this noise. And I'm like, is that the door? Somebody coming in? Like, hey, there's somebody in here. Like, I think maybe Amy had come home or something. You never know. So I peek, right? I got shampoo running down my face. I peek, and with that one eye, right, looking over, and I'm like, door's wide open, no Kylie. I'm like, what the hell, right? So I'm rinsing, right? I rinse real quick, and I was like, I just turn off the water and I get out, right? 'Cause you never know. Like a 3-year-old, they're dangerous, right? With unsupervised. I walk into the living room. I look over. The front door is wide open.
Oh,
already,
that's not good.
right? So she carried this damn stool with her everywhere she went, at that age. And she basically grabbed that stool, went straight to the front door, opened the front door, and boom, booked it, right? So I'm wearing a towel, right?
That's great.
And I come out. We're living in these townhomes back then. And I go out, and I look left, and I look right. There's no kid. Literally, this is from start to finish. By the time I put her on the mat and put shampoo and rinsed out, we're talking about 40 seconds, right? So you think nothing can happen in 40 seconds. Well, let me tell you, 40 seconds for a kid is a long time. They get a lot of shit done. So I come out, I'm searching frantically, right? Thinking bushes, thinking like, okay, and I'm looking pretty good distances from left to right. So like, she's not there. So now I'm running, and I'm moving to the side of a building, and I see her. She's completely naked, right? She dropped the towel, and she is running at full steam down this grassy alleyway, right?
And you're in a towel at this
I'm
point.
in a towel.
Have you rinsed the soap out of your hair?
I probably have soap still in my hair at this point. I just tried to get out. Probably have soap coming down my back, right? And the towel's basically just absorbing that.
Did you put flip-flops on?
No, I'm running, right? I'm running. I'm kind of at a trot, but I'm like, I see her. I'm going to get to her, no
Were
problem.
you yelling?
Yes. This is what got me I saw a guy. This is probably a good 50, 60 yards, right? So I can run that pretty fast. In a towel, trying to hold it up too. But when that guy picks her up, and I think he can see me, but evidently he doesn't see me. And all of a sudden he moves around the corner with her, right?
That's some scary shit.
I'm at a sprint at this point, right?
Screaming or what?
Yeah, well, you think you're screaming, but nothing was really coming out of my mouth. I was just
Right.
in disbelief,
Panic.
right? Panic. So he had probably made it like 2 steps around the corner with her. And I'm on his, I'm fixing to grab the back of his neck at this point. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He was like, oh, man, I found this kid. I'm like, yeah, that's my kid. What's wrong with you? And I'm cussing, right? I'm like, why the F?
Poor guy just picked up a naked kid out of the street to help.
No, not in the street. It's like in a grassy area, right? And so, yes, but he was walking the opposite direction as the kid came. What does that tell you, right?
I don't know. Maybe that's where he lives.
I
Maybe
don't
he was
know.
going to call 911.
Whatever.
I don't know. If I see a naked kid alone, I'm like, I need to probably help this kid.
Okay, it's fine. Maybe you go stand there, you hold her hand. Maybe you keep looking around for some parents or something.
Yeah, I see. I get it. You're in
Right.
panic mode.
Yeah. So I'm like, what the F are you picking her up for, right? He was like, I'm so sorry, man. I was like, I've already pulled Kylie out of his arms, right? And I'm so upset. He goes to say something. I was like, I was already just tunneled him out. I'm pretty sure I was like, I will freaking kill you. You're, whatever. But, I kind of calmed down a little bit, but not too much. I get home. I close the door, and then I spanked her. Right? I was so upset.
She had no idea why.
No, she had no idea, right? None. I'm the worst father in the world, right? Amy comes home, sees that, because by the time she's got a diaper on, right? I come home, put a diaper on her. I spanked her. I was just wound up, right? I was like, I think she had grabbed the stool and went back to the front door. I was like, oh, no, you're not. So then she got her spanking, and then she cried. Then Amy came home and saw that she had a red butt, and then I got in trouble.
You got to spank.
I got in trouble from her, right? That's the only time Amy's probably been that mad at me, to be honest with you.
For spanking your kid?
Well, I left a red mark on her butt, so.
Oh, man. If I got in trouble every time I
Yeah.
left a red mark on one of my kids.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Oof.
it happens. But yeah. So lesson learned, lock your doors. And after that, I put the security things on the doors so where the kids could spin them and not open. But it never happened before, and you just don't think about it. I was young, right? And when you're
Yeah, it's
when
a
you're-
learning experience.
I was 23 back then, right? 23 years old. My son will be 23 tomorrow. That tells you anything. So, But yeah,
Happy birthday, Keegan.
it's right.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Keegan. And he's got his Packers on tomorrow, so
That's right.
that's good. That's a good birthday.
Packers on tomorrow.
And I hope they beat the shit out of them Eagles. So
Yep. Luke, my number 2, he used to take those little protective doorknob cover plastic things, rip them right off.
Right. Then open the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. And
Yeah.
Sissy's just now learning how to open a door. So I've had to start locking the front door because she'll do the same thing. She'll just walk out. I mean, y'all have seen it before.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Y'all
know.
out here hanging out, and I was thinking, like, why is Sissy out in the front yard by herself?
Well.
Let me catch one of you picking her up and walking away with her. Oh,
Right.
man, I'll pull a Jan on you.
That's right.
we'll all have red asses.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody get a spanking.
She
Spankings all around.
Yeah, she's just going to come over to my house into the garage.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Then it's gonna
kinda
be
weird,
your fault.
like, yeah.
Then it's gonna be your fault
Yeah,
because the
my fault,
garage is
yeah.
open. Like, well, why
Like,
she come over here?
I got Linda next door. She's probably, 2 years old. She's like, I want to go over to Uncle James's house and hang out in the garage. And Matt's like, why does my kid always want to come over to your house? Like,
Well, it wasn't long ago where I had a naked baby run over to your house. If you remember that.
yeah.
I mean,
Sissy says it. Sissy already says James' house.
Yeah,
James' house.
That's because we always come over here and we hang out in the garage, which is aptly known as Vegas. On the weekends, it stays open pretty late, and yeah, I do like the T-shirt Alden and John are wearing. Let's see the "But Did We Won" shirts.
Yes. How come my logo looks way bigger than his?
Because you are a way bigger guy than me, sucker.
All right, let's post a picture of this. We're going to post a picture.
Yeah, we'll post a picture on our Instagram and Twitter page.
Hey, but did we win?
But did we win?
Chasing More Smoke had a cook-off last weekend. Cooked against some really, really awesome teams. I think Lucky Charms was out there. I think it was 70 people. Cook-off?
70 teams, yeah.
Yeah.
There was and apparently there were some kick-ass
Some
teams
ballers out there.
Yeah.
I
Huh?
think
Yeah.
Fred Robles might have been out
Fred
there.
Robles,
the guy
which
that just won.
the American Royale.
Yeah, he was out there.
Which is freaking badass.
So he's pretty good, I guess.
He's kind of good. Yeah,
He's good.
He's
Uh,
kind of
no,
good.
huge shout out. That dude's a badass.
He kicked her ass at Kids Unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got 13th in chicken,
13th in chicken
Yeah.
and that's kind of
out
where we
of 77 teams.
Yeah.
right.
So that's pretty badass.
That's a good chicken turn in, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, we like to see some first and second and thirds, top tens in there, but hey, you
Obviously.
can't win them all, right? I mean, that's
It's
it.
true.
But the guys were out there. I saw the pictures of the food; they looked phenomenal. So hey,
Yep.
who knows?
Next cook-off was on, like I mentioned before, the 4th of October, 4th, 5th. So
Yep.
Yeah,
B-
we'll be
shout out
competing
to,
at the Brazoria
Missouri County.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this, who was all at this last one? So Sean Moore was out there, Sonny there, John Ensign, Eric,
Eric
Eric
was out there.
yeah, Eric,
Dylan.
and then John Ensign and Erica and Dylan. So they
Holly.
Basically,
Yeah.
none of us
Holly?
made it out there.
Yeah, we didn't get to go, but Holly was out there as well. So, which look at, and they had a lazy river. Did you see that?
Bro, that's what happened. That's what
That's what
happened.
got 'em.
They were like,
That's what got 'em.
beer in a lazy river. Somebody throw all the meat on. We'll come back in 8 hours and check on it.
I'm telling you right
You
now.
can't cook chicken for 8 hours.
I am
and-
going next year. I'm doing that one. I am going to be lazy river in it at nighttime.
all day, 24
day.
hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like a little Weber grill in a float, just
Right.
floating in the lazy river.
That's all I need.
James, you haven't got out to go pee.
Chicken's almost done, guys.
Yeah, chicken. Well, what's going to happen is it's going to look like me from what was it about a couple months ago when I came home. I got a little tuned up over at Vegas with James and y'all. I made it home. I decided that in my reasoning, I was like, if I fall asleep in the shower will just run, and I'll waste a lot of water. But if I fall asleep in the bathtub, it's fine. I won't waste a lot of water.
But you'll drown.
But so I woke up. Water's ice cold, right? I go to get out and I have an automatic light. Once it sees your motion, light turns on in the bathroom, right? My hands look like Mickey Mouse glove hands, right? They're like swollen. The skin is already peeling off of it. It was the worst experience I think I've had after just getting drunk and getting into a bathtub, right? I'm like, who the hell does that?
Have you had a lot of those experiences?
I've had a
drunk in a
couple.
bathtub.
Well, I've only had one where I fell asleep. I literally, it was probably close to like 5 or 5:30 in the morning. So much so that I think Amy had even come in and went to the restroom. But since I was so quiet in the bathtub, she didn't know that I was there sleeping.
Kind of creepy.
I know. Lesson learned. I'm not going to ever do that again because it is a serious thing. You can't get hurt. You can't
sure.
drown and die from that.
Thank you.
and I don't want that to happen. I don't know what I was thinking, but I do know that my feet and hands peeled for like 2 freaking days.
Don't drown. Turn around.
So yeah, that was me.
Another public service announcement.
Don't do meth.
Exactly. Don't cook food while you're drunk.
I don't even know.
Never works.
Never works out.
Well, I always fall asleep.
Yeah.
Got 2 charcoal briquette pizzas that I did a while back too. So did that. It's a good thing my wife can't smell anymore. So she has.
You didn't notice the backyard on fire?
Well, she didn't notice that we had a house full of smoke and it smelled the whole thing up. But she slept right through it.
I guess that could be a thing too. Microwave fails.
Well, this was
You know
in the
what I
oven,
mean?
Phil.
Oh,
But
well, still.
I went and unplugged the damn smoke detector. I haven't plugged it. I got to put it back together.
You probably should.
But dude, the whole thing was just roaring full of black smoke. I mean, like literally 2 hockey puck looking pizza things, just 3 hours
You just
at
passed out?
350.
Oh, that's not good.
Dude, they were like so hard.
It's close to just like burn the house down fire.
So I went and put water on them just before I put it in the trash. I was like, these things are like glowing. That's how hot they are. So I literally threw them away. I was like, lesson learned.
Was it Totino's or DiGiorno?
It was Red Baron.
Red Baron.
Red Baron.
you wasted money,
the
man.
French bread. The French bread pizzas, man, they're so good.
You should have thrown him over the fence at Matt's house and got him back for the
Potato salad incident.
Yeah.
Fucking Matt.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, Matt
Tater
got
salad.
me. So I still have a spot in my grass where it's dead from that thing, I think.
Yeah,
Never grew back.
Just kind of a backstory. Jan purchased a house that is not directly my back neighbor, but
Or mine.
one to the left, right, however you want to, however you're looking at it.
My left or your left?
One of them, yeah.
Let's go between our houses.
Exactly.
James's house and my house.
Behind Matt.
Behind Matt's
Behind
house,
Matt's
which is my neighbor next to me. Well, when they moved in, I mean, this wasn't right when they moved
First
in.
night.
It was first night.
First night.
Who was that third
First,
night?
first night.
First
So
time I moved here.
I think Jan comes over. We hung out here, right?
Yeah.
Then do we wind down the night, and then you went back over to your house?
Nope.
No, we were back in your house.
Amy called me.
Okay.
Amy called, and she was so mad. I had to go home. And then when I got there, Matt was drunk, but he was in my backyard, and he was cleaning the potato salad out of the grass.
Had you met Matt before this?
I think I maybe once or twice. I don't think I'd really known
Oh,
Matt.
Matt
Yeah.
is fantastic. Let me just say, Matt is our
Great
buddy.
guy.
He's on our cook-off team.
He
He's a
has
great
one
guy.
of our shirts.
So he's hanging out in Vegas, which is the garage where we're recording this podcast. Has quite a few beers, as we all did. He goes home. I think his buddy Jared was.
That was when he had
him
the
as
kegger,
well.
right?
No kegger, but I did know Matt. I'd met Matt a few times hanging
Yeah.
out over here, just in general.
So Matt goes, and I for whatever reason, he goes into his fridge, and there's some old potato salad that needs to be thrown out. And then I guess he goes into his backyard thinking, I'm going to chunk it across the fence.
Nobody's going to know.
He sees lights on. Maybe he thinks that somebody's back there.
he thinks we're back there.
He thinks that we're back there.
Amy was back there.
Amy, Jan's wife, was the only person back there. I think she was like reading a book or something.
Yeah, well,
just sitting there
yeah.
hanging out. And next thing you know, just a tub of potato salad just comes flying over the fence.
Who
She's like,
wastes potato salad like that?
Right? Well, I think it was bad potatoes. I think it was rancid potato salad.
You need to eat it before he goes to bed. That doesn't happen in my house.
And then Amy proceeds to go like, "What the fuck?" And then starts getting on the phone to Jane like, "Hey, you need to come over here." Neighbor just threw potato salad over the fence. She has no clue. Like it's like it wasn't just a nice little friendly prank or whatever it was. And like whatever. So then I think we get a hold of Matt. We get a hold of Kayla. I think Kayla, which is Matt's wife, say, "You need to go over there and clean that shit up." And so he goes over there and he's literally spooning potato salad with his hands into like back into the tub. He's got potato salad all over his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy mess, and
Was
just
not
apologizing. I'm sorry. Still to this day, that may be the reason why all your grass is just dying back there. It just got
is
infected with some type of
The reason.
The remnants
potato
of what was
salad
in there.
Is that what it is?
It is the reason. Yeah, you still can't bring it up. Amy will give you a look. Matt will give you a look. There's a certain, like, hey, don't talk about throwing stuff.
So
Tater
when they listen to this
salad.
podcast, were they going to? They should listen to it together.
Yeah, thou shall not throw potato salad on thy neighbor's
Neighbor,
lawn,
wife.
whatever you want to say.
I don't know.
Yeah, we got scripture on this one. Okay, thy and shall, and no, it's
Hey,
good.
if there's a shall in there, you know it's serious.
It must
you know
be done.
it's serious if we were talking like
Yeah.
that.
Should is a recommendation. Shall is must. Remember that.
All right, you guys want to get into the barbecue portion of this?
Let's get into it, man.
Let's do this thing.
I should just stop asking you guys and just start transition. Just
You basically do
just
anyway.
Go into it. Yeah. Hey, just cut all this out, John. I'm just going to roll into it. All right, guys, let's talk about barbecue. Now, that sounded too jacked up, but
This is all staying.
yeah. Let's talk about barbecue, and this is our barbecue portion of this podcast. Let's talk a little bit about the evolution of barbecue grilling. Before we get into the grill portion of it, let's talk a little bit about the charcoal. I mean, you guys, obviously, I mean, what do you think the first charcoal briquette?
Well, I know
That was-
exactly what it was. There was a Homo sapien that was a tree struck by lightning. That's what it was.
Mhm.
And after it burned down, they found the hot coals,
burning embers.
Right? Yeah,
the
yeah. And they had
coals.
just killed the saber tooth, so they were like, looking at the saber tooth, looking at the hot coals, looking at the saber tooth, looking at the hot coals, and they were like, "Well, duh."
I kind of see that going a little bit differently.
I was gonna say,
I kind of see that
maybe a little bit.
maybe there was a fire, and maybe they're using the fire to provide light because
Or heat.
It's at nighttime and heat,
Yeah.
and so they kill themselves a saber tooth or a woolly mammoth or some shit,
mammoth.
and they're using the light to slice this thing up and eat, and then maybe a portion of it just kind of fell onto the fire.
Yeah,
And
they
just
can't be wasting that shit.
Sat there for a little bit, and then one of them pulled it off, like, "Hey, you can't waste this," and ate it. And he was like, "I'm gonna open up my barbecue stand now, and I'm gonna sell it to the other."
Yes, yes, that is what happened.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you had Flintstone barbecue.
You had caveman barbecue, which I think maybe that might already have been taken. Does somebody on Twitter have caveman?
I'm
barbecue?
gonna look him up. I bet it's a thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it
tag him in
probably
this.
is. Yeah. Okay, so that is what we call, I guess, lump charcoal. We're using real wood,
Yes,
coals.
the jealous devil, if you will,
Jealous Devil.
the best charcoal.
Yeah, and we're not sponsored by them, but we utilize them. We utilize that charcoal quite a bit.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
the cook-off team is sponsored by them.
Correct. Now, when you get into the charcoal briquettes, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Who do you think invented the charcoal briquette?
Kingsford.
Kingsford. Yes,
Sure enough.
that was the first charcoal briquette that was manufactured commercially. And
Did they also invent the first bag that could just be lit with it without lighter fluid?
I'm
Or
sure.
was that somebody
Little
else?
match light, whatever you call it, or
Were you talking about the?
Just the bag in general, like
you light the whole bag.
like the whole bag and just
Oh,
boom.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, yeah. I
They're pretty
didn't.
much
My
front
research did not go that far into that. But what I did find out was that this guy Edward Kingsford was related to, maybe a cousin was related to Henry Ford.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say scissor hands, but that
Yeah.
works too.
Which, when you think about it, I mean,
Well, they had the same first name, so they must be related.
Must be related.
Edward, Ed, Eddie, and yeah.
What is wrong with you, man?
Right. So, if you think about it, I mean, freaking Kingsford charcoal, Henry Ford. I mean, how freaking awesome is his family? I mean,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, I mean, it's just
Yeah, there was a third brother that didn't do anything.
yeah, you know that's right. He's like, I just want to paint. Hey, you don't even understand me, Dad.
Right. There's the one brother that's just completely overshadowed. Probably super talented, but
Yeah.
the other guys are making vehicles and making charcoal and.
So if I didn't have
you-
a brother, am I that guy?
I don't know. You
You
know,
probably are.
you know,
You know
Dad
what I
or
mean?
Pops is like Eddie. No, hey, whatever. Probably Rick.
Van
It was
Halen.
probably Rick.
Mhm.
And the dad's like, Rick, your brother Eddie just invented charcoal. Everybody's using it. Your cousin Henry is making automobiles. And you're over here just, playing with like sticks and
No, you know what he said? He said, "I'm driving that car to this little barbecue."
Yeah.
Because what do I got to do?
It probably what he's doing. He's like, I got my own
All
car.
right, I'm gonna drive
I
over
got
here.
an endless supply of like charcoal.
Right.
What else I got to do?
I'm cooking some barbecue.
Grab hold of them coattails.
Hey,
Ride them all the way in, dude.
exactly. I mean, shit. What are you gonna do? This guy Edward approached Henry Ford and was like, Henry told him to go ahead and, hey, you go take off. I think it was probably Michigan area. It was up north or whatever. He's like, we want to start this auto parts plant up there and start making these auto parts for these Ford vehicles. And you ramrod the whole thing and blah, blah, blah. So he goes up there and and I think a sawmill was also incorporated in with this Ford parts plant. As you know, back in the day, the Model T, I mean, those cars are made out
sure.
of wood.
Right.
And so he's sitting there, and they got the plant up and going, and all the production, everything's going great. And as they're making all these bodies for the Model Ts and the different Fords, there's a shit ton of like byproduct, the wood scraps that are just getting discarded and just like piled up and just left over. And so, I mean, being the genius that he was, taking the opportunity to take something that's nothing and scrap and turning it into freaking money.
Yeah,
He's like,
Well, that's the thing with people that they're turned. I mean, any opportunity into profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I have this, basically a pile of nothing that's just discarded.
right.
But speaking of like meat, that's where like fajitas came from, because that used to be the trash of the meat, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it's that way with a lot of things.
Very just cheap meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, look what it is now, and somebody's like, oh, I can do something with that.
Yeah,
So,
that shit's not cheap anymore.
Now it's like $12,
No.
$13, $14 a pound. I mean, you used to
Exactly.
be able to get that shit for like 50 cents on the dollar.
sure. So, I mean, I guess that's what I'm getting to. There's just some people that are just smarter with the resources that they have around them, because they're like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I turn this into profit?
Right.
You
And,
know-
and that's what this guy did. I mean, and then he opened this. He went to Ford and he was like, "Hey, think we should open up a charcoal type deal." And the guy said, "Hey, fantastic idea." So then they did it, and it took off, and it was great. And I think from the research that I found, that they started like the Kingsford Chemical Company, and I think they were using that to produce the briquettes or whatever. And then somebody came in and purchased that out, and then they started doing, just taking off on that Kingsford charcoal briquette
Sure.
type deal. And he ended up, I think at this particular time, Edward Kingsford had already passed away, so he ended up taking that name, and it's like, hey, we're going to use that name and then move forward.
So
And that's
who's on the bag? Because there's a dude on there, right?
it, maybe Edward Kingsford,
Maybe
and maybe Henry Ford.
So
mean,
is this Kingsford company? Is that still a thing? Is that still around?
still the same Kingsford that you go to the grocery store right now and get that charcoal. And then now, of course, I mean, you got the original, the Instalight, the
Sure.
freaking Applewood.
I guess that's
all
a
the
question
different
I would
flavors.
ask. Like, once you invent something else so we're talking about the bags, that you like the bag and it likes charcoal, right? So does that put your lighter fluid company out? That division of the company out? Because they're like, well, we don't need that anymore because we've instilled it into that bag. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they saw a need to make Instant Light. I mean, I'm sure I didn't do any
People
research
still know
to
about
see
the
when
name,
that
though.
when that started, but lighter fluid's been around a long time.
Right.
I mean,
People still buying that shit.
yeah, people still utilizing it. So, and I'm sure there was somebody a long time ago like, hey, we're using this kerosene that we use to light our lanterns. Why don't we just put it in the bottle and we'll call it lighter fluid
Right.
for your charcoal? And then they're a millionaire.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, so
we basically need to come up with something like that.
yeah,
Like this podcast.
but we don't have to do it tonight.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the original grill was the
The original grill that has been utilized, and it's probably from the 20s up into the 50s, and then probably a little bit further on, was the Brazier grill.
Brazier.
Brazier.
Brazier? Or
Brazier.
Brazier?
Brazier.
Brazier. Like
Brazier
Frasier with
Grill.
a B.
Down goes
Okay,
Frazier.
you're right.
Okay.
You're right. I was thinking more brawl.
You were thinking about
You thinking about them titties? Come on,
Boobies.
man.
I was thinking about boobies. And I was like, man,
Brazier?
how many charcoal briquettes can you fit in the brawl? And then
Depends on how big them boobs
Depends on
are.
the size of the brazier. Anywho,
I mean, you're either
Brazier?
cooking a brisket or you're cooking some eggs.
I don't know. I mean,
Anywho, we'll go on.
Where were we?
Yeah. Did it get hot in here?
yeah, because Keegan walked in.
Okay, so the Brazier grill, which I mean, it was just a simple grill with no lid. It was a open container. It could be like a metal box or whatever it is that kind of had legs on it.
basically like the ones you see at the apartment complexes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Just open.
Just open, no lid.
Got you.
Like
Okay.
a fire pit.
Pretty much a fire
Basically a
pit.
fire pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open, no lid, and throw your charcoal on it, fire it up. You're just doing your open cooking, all that stuff like that. So that's kind of what people are used to and accustomed to from probably like the 20s to the 50s. I mean, that's kind of what it was.
I
But
still
mean,
love cooking that way, by the
oh,
way.
for sure. And then the art of barbecuing and all that stuff like that. I mean, that's like we're barbecuing nowadays. That's not how our grandparents did it or our
Yeah.
pops did it or
Right.
whatever. I mean, it's just involved. And I mean,
Right, yeah. We're walking out and flipping on a Traeger grill and turning it up to 350. Time
Yeah.
to grill. My
Yeah.
grandpa would have been like, "What the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?"
More than likely, they're probably inside, like in grandma or mom's is like throwing down food and cooking and doing all that stuff
Right.
like that. So the explosion of cooking,
Is that what took the
Outside.
men out of the kitchen?
huh?
Is that probably what took the men out of the kitchen?
Probably after the war. I mean, the invention of some of these
Because they could do it outside. You know
some
what
of
I
these
mean?
barbecue grills that pop up that we'll discuss in a second is probably what just exploded and allowed people to go outside
Right.
and go out
Sure.
there and hang out and cook and drink beer and party and all
Yeah.
that shit like that.
I say the men out of the kitchen. Of course, they weren't ever in the kitchen. You know what I mean? But probably during those times, there's like, well, if I'm gonna cook outside.
Yeah,
know
but
what I mean?
I'm
So-
sure you probably still had a like huge population of women still doing the barbecuing. Back in
Probably.
that time.
Yeah. Dinner was on the table when the guys got home.
Right. I mean, they're the ones cooking. I mean, they're the ones doing.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Because even the stove, they probably a lot of them were stovetop, open flames, and that's what the women were cooking on. So
Yeah.
So does barbecuing come from women? Or does it come from
That's a whole nother story. That's
Fred
another
Flintstone?
episode.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, just I don't know. I mean, I guess as long as you have an open flame, you're gonna be able to cook on it, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you can cook on a stove, you can cook on whatever. Then you can. Cooking outside is.
If you can dodge a wrench,
you can dodge a ball. If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
All right. So after the Brazier Grill, you probably had somewhere in the 1950s, early 50s, you had this gentleman by the name of George Stephen. He came about, I think, about 1951 or so. This dude was working at Weber Brothers Metalworks, and he was a welder. And so, and apparently, what they did was they were fabricating buoys that they can, throw out in the ocean or whatever. You see them, the ones just like floating around.
So your boat don't hit the dock.
Yeah. Hey, steer clear of this. Do not
those kind of buoys.
do not run aboard here.
Actual buoys.
Yeah. And so he was cooking in his backyard using one of these Brazier grills, and he was like, fucking ash is just like kicking up and just going all over the meat and just going everywhere. And it's probably it's probably ruining his party. He's probably just drinking a beer and he's grilling, flipping his meat, and probably those Kingsford charcoal might have been on there just a little too long, and all of a sudden it's breaking down, the ash is kicking up, and it's getting all over the chicken, and he's like,
Right.
stupid
I need a
Brazier
lid.
grills.
I need a lid.
wait. So was Brazier an actual brand, or was that just like a more like?
I think
a
it was like
method?
I think it's just a terminology that was just said back then.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't an actual brand
Okay.
because I think to be honest, I think a lot of people just made their own makeshift type grills like that.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, again, somebody probably came up with the idea, but you see it nowadays, like, why wouldn't you have a lid on this?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
It cooks faster.
Right.
Yeah, it just...
Okay, so this
Don't
George
convection.
Stephen, he's like, I am going to build my own. So he cuts one of these buoys in half. He takes the bottom portion of it, the round cone shaped, almost like the Weber kettle bottom portion of it, and put some legs on it. And he's like, I'm going to put a lid on it. And he didn't have any vents on it at that time, but that's what it was. And then stuck in his backyard, and that's what he used to cook with.
No vents.
No vents.
How do you keep the fire going?
Well, at the time, I mean,
He was
again,
probably his own.
He was
vent.
opening it frequently.
Yeah, he
was
was
open
He
it
was his own
frequently.
vent.
It was trial and error.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so his neighbor is like, freaking Rick, and he's like, Steven, I mean, what is that? I mean, is that some freaking? I think he said his neighbor called it Sputnik. Yeah,
The Russian...
Russian, like, was it a satellite or
Right,
rocket
yeah,
or
whatever it was.
whatever? Yeah, and then that's what it was nicknamed. And I think he went back to the drawing board and redesigned and re-engineered and like, okay, well, it needs handle, it needs
ventilation.
and that was the birth of the Weber kettle grill.
So I guess he figured it out.
He figured it out.
Yeah, and it hadn't changed much. If you think about it,
And
No.
from that time, no,
Really?
it has
Yeah.
not
it
changed.
has not. The color changes.
Color changes.
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
about it. Little
They
catch
put the little things
basket
on the
for
bottom.
ashes
Yeah,
or whatever.
the baskets. I mean,
Still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The concept, because the concept was perfect. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Pretty damn close, yeah. I
there's
would say
there's not much more you could do.
Weber Kettle is definitely still one of my favorite grills to use.
Yeah. Then you have, and of course, there's a huge. We'll get into the next, I guess, evolution of the grill, and that was kind of long in the same time frame, maybe a little bit later. But the gas grill. I mean, you think about
Yeah.
when that was.
I don't know when that came out,
Yeah,
but
it probably about mid 50s, early 50s,
really,
or
I would have
whatever.
thought it was much later.
Like in all the research that I was doing, I was thinking it was pretty much like just a barbecue explosion or a barbecue revolution around the 50s areas. And it's just the gas grills, the Weber kettle, all the stuff that's circulating. It's like people are obviously wanting to grill. They're wanting to get outside. They're wanting mobile grills that they can move around. That's when all this shit kind of started. And then that's over the years is kind of we've graduated to what we have nowadays.
Yeah, and I can see the beginnings of the gas grills. I mean, it wasn't as easy for those guys as it is for us because we just go buy a propane tank, boom, put it on there.
Right.
So they're having to go to wherever they have a supply of whatever type of gas they were using. I don't know if it was liquid propane at that time or
Yeah, it
natural
was.
gas.
I think it's
Was it?
probably
But-
just like we have nowadays with where you go to Lowe's or you go to
so they
Ace
could bottle it
Hardware,
up and still.
where they could sit there and go because if you think about it, a lot of homes were probably heated
That's true too.
with
Yeah,
propane.
Right.
So-
that's true.
But I wrote down, so it's probably early 50s, this guy, Don McLaughlin, from Chicago Combustion Corp, created the first gas grill. And it was called the Lazy Man.
That makes total sense.
it.
That
Oh
makes
my
total
God.
sense.
The Lazy
That
Man.
is what I'm referring to gas grills as for now.
Yeah, why do we not say that nowadays?
That is now what we're calling him.
The Lazy
Let me
Man.
get you a lazy man. Yes.
So it
Was
was
that the same person that invented the Lazy Boy recliner?
I doubt it. So
Gotta
they came with this gas grill, and it was the first gas grill that was portable. And I guess they had gas grills that you could utilize, or maybe they had
Or like
maybe in
stove
restaurant
type,
or
yeah.
a commercial type deal.
Wonder what they were referring to as portable because that's not portable. You know,
Correct. Well, I mean, you put wheels on that, they'll be convertible.
well, right now it's not. But
Okay, so this one, and there's a picture, and we'll get John to throw it up on our social media.
Correct.
And it's this gas grill, and it's got wheels or whatever, but it's the first, I guess, grill to utilize the 20-pound propane bottle.
What year was this?
This was I just said 1950s, like early 1950s.
so basically everything they've done in the early 1900s, or say early 1900s, but as far as grilling, we still utilize today.
1950s, yeah.
Doesn't really change. I mean, the things have gotten a little prettier.
Right, yeah, for sure. They
little
add the
bit-
bells and whistles.
It's
little
kind of
bit
like
more
what
bells and
works.
whistles,
What works
between
works,
the,
you know, and
turning
Yeah.
on, igniting. I don't know what kind of igniters they had with those things.
Right.
I'm sure they'll probably like using matches and like turning a knob.
There
and,
was
like,
no push button start lighter.
electric.
Yeah. Imagine
Starters
how
or
they
whatever.
came up with this stuff. Like the guy who,
Oh, there was
whatever
a-
your name is, that created the gas grill. Was he just like sitting around like, what else is flammable that we could cook on?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
How did that start?
Yeah, who knows? But I did make it a little side note. I was like, previously, before this guy came up with this gas grill conception,
he had 2 eyebrows before, right?
the 20-pound propane bottles were used by plumbers.
Yeah, because we got to heat some shit up.
Yeah.
We got to heat lead up,
shucks.
man. That was back in the days of lead and oakum, and
At that time, that was the only people that were utilizing it.
yeah, because that was the only way to make a seal was using lead and oakum, which obviously we don't use that, anymore. They make a rubber gasket that basically does the same thing. It's just less time consuming. Obviously, I don't even know where, honestly, to tell you where to buy the tools to do what they used to do back in the day. You know what I mean? And but they had melting pots, they had ladles, they had all this kind of shit, dude, and they had running ropes that they used to soak in kerosene to make joints and this cast iron pipe. And but yeah, I mean, they had to have something to heat it up to get to that temperature. You know what I mean? So I could see that being very true.
And that's pretty much all I have about the evolution of barbecue. I mean, that's like like we said earlier. I mean, we're still utilizing the same tools.
Right. Everything after that was just what method do you want to use? Do you want to use an offset smoker or put it in a barrel? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, obviously, there's the pellet grill in the 80s or 70s or whatever it was.
The
Traeger
old smoky grill.
Right, yeah, but like you said, it's basically the same method. Do you want to use charcoal? Do you want to use wood? Or do you want to use gas?
Yeah, and then you can go into the argument of which one's the best, charcoal, gas.
I'm gonna have to
Wood?
say the person
It's not
manning
gas,
it.
I'll tell you
the
that right
person
now.
manning it is the best.
The what?
The person manning it is the best.
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of better cookers out there than me, but if they're stuck on a gas grill and I'm using charcoal
that's
and wood,
true, too.
I'm betting on myself.
What do you think, Keegan?
Keegan, get on there.
Yeah, get on the mic.
Well, as someone famous once said, with propane, you'll be able to taste the meat and not the heat.
Was
That
that
is
famous person
very true.
Hank Hill?
Is he from Arlen?
Arlen,
Is he
Texas?
from Arlen, Texas?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
So we talked about Keegan earlier. He's going to be 23 tomorrow.
God damn it,
Damn
Bobby.
it, Bobby.
And his beloved Green Bay Packers
my
will
favorite-
be playing tomorrow.
My favorite King of the Hill is what was the episode where they're grilling steaks, and Bobby comes rolling up and he's like, Dad. It's like, what happens if they don't want their steaks? Was it medium rare?
Yeah, what if they want their steaks
What if
well
they want
done?
their
Well
steaks
done.
well done? And he's like, well, son, Bobby, politely but firmly asked them to leave.
Another one that can't be overlooked is when Bobby and Peggy decide to start with charcoal, and they're just like addicted to it. And
They're addicted to the charcoal flavor of
Hank
steaks.
comes
Yes.
home and he sees a little charcoal thing under the table or something. And he's like, "What is this?"
What have you done?
One of my favorite episodes from there was when he was taking the women's self-defense classes, and just his move was, that's my purse. Just kicks whoever straight in the nuts, dude. That's awesome. It's all those episodes were awesome, man. They're so relatable. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Very
That show's
relatable.
got to be up there in the top cartoons.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's got to be. Yeah, I wish they would just bring it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Just redo it.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, with today's political climate, can it handle the realness of King of the Hill?
They probably can't.
Right.
Yeah. One of my favorite episodes, and before we go cut this to bed, and we'll get into the barbecue wins, barbecue fails, or we may have some fails, I think, for you guys. But there was an episode where Hank is going fishing, and he goes to one of the corner because he hears you go over here to buy the best bait, and he's like, okay. So he drives off into what was it going, Dallas or whatever? It was some sketchy neighborhood, just say the least. So he gets there and he's like, hey, and I buy some of that bait. And then the guy's like almost kind of a boom hower, like, that bait. Hey, I didn't know you took. Is that what it's called, bait now? All right, cool. Here you go. And then sells Hank crack.
Yeah.
And then he goes fishing and he sits there and baits his hook with crack and he throws it in the water. And as soon as it hits the water, a couple like minute or whatever, boom, he's pulling a fish up. Next thing you know, I think he's catch release. He's like. Maybe it was a little small, and then
it was too small.
He throws it back in the water, throws his pole back in. As soon as it hits the water, he pulls up. Boom! The fish is attached to it again.
Same dead
The
fish.
same one,
fish.
yeah.
Then he throws it back in.
Fish
Then I'm
turned
pretty
into
sure
a
I think the
crackhead,
fish is
like
just
that.
jumping into the boat by then. He's not even waiting for the hook. So Hank is like, "This is the best damn bait ever." And then he goes back to whatever. I need to get some of that bait again. And yeah, again.
That
King of
show
the
is
Hill.
so awesome. So
Phenomenal.
many different levels. I mean, it's very not PC, I guess you could say, but dude, it's phenomenal, man. It's a phenomenal show.
That's definitely something we'll have to try out with the crack on a fish hook. What's the
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
would have been
let's
better?
see.
You know what would have
Can
been better?
we put that
if
as
they
a
would-
rub on something?
Yeah.
I don't know where we would even purchase crack at.
Don't ask me.
Somewhere in Houston. I mean, come on.
It would have been better had Hank Hill pulled out like a crackhead, like a dude, a person.
Just hiding in
Yeah,
a like
got him. Yeah, got him.
Again,
some
not
people
to,
go to
not
the
to
depths
diminish
to
and
get crack.
downplay people that have a drug addiction. Horrible stuff.
Yeah, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
I said that earlier. Don't do meth.
Crack
I
is
feel,
whack.
I feel like we have to do a disclaimer for everything we say.
Right.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
Don't assume anything we're
Don't
saying
listen
is
to
good.
anything we say.
Go ahead and practice safe barbecue, guys.
Don't do
Safe
all.
barbecue,
Don't do
right.
all the drugs. Yeah, for sure.
Correct.
Just do some of them.
So Keegan, we're talking about you, man. 23 tomorrow.
Yeah,
Huh?
happy birthday, Keegan.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
man.
I hear that no one actually likes you when you're 23.
That is a good song, by the way. Blink 182
Thank you for
Can-
getting that reference.
Yeah.
can sing all about that song.
Okay, so let me ask you
No,
guys.
you don't. Not me.
Let me ask you guys a question. I threw out a question on Twitter that some of you guys probably saw. I don't know about you, Keegan. Keegan, 23. Are you on Twitter?
No, I'm actually quite the loser and not really on social media.
Are you on Snack Chat?
I am on the Snap Face or whatever these youngins
What
call
is
it.
your major social media outlet?
I mean,
Is it Reddit?
yeah, it's Reddit.
It's
If we're
Reddit.
gonna if we're gonna call that one, it's probably that.
Yeah. Okay, so create your own Twitter page and just go alter ego so you can follow me or whatever so you understand what I'm saying here. So I threw out there today. Have you heard about the Marry, Kill,
Had a little M. I don't
F?
know.
Marry, Kill, Fuck? Never is that. Oh, I mean, hey, we can say fuck on this podcast. John, put an E on this. This.
He said
Like-
the F word,
like
folks.
as a
I did.
grade.
Oh golly!
I'm out.
Yeah,
As a grade.
Mom, don't listen to that part.
exactly.
Yeah.
Did you say Mary killed who?
Marry, kill, have sex with.
Oh, there we go.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's more.
So we're talking about people.
3
Go,
people.
go a little
Got
PG.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Marry, kill, have sex with.
Keegan, James, John. Go, Alden.
At that
Don't
point,
go. Just stop.
yeah,
He'll go.
Just
I would.
stop. I don't want to hear it.
I would kill myself.
Hey.
Then I don't have. Then I'm done. You know
There
what
we
I mean?
go.
So
That's great.
So I did a play off that on Twitter. I did beer, brisket, and bacon. Which one you keeping for the rest of your life? Which one you can only have once?
When you say once, I'm sorry, I'm cutting in here because I've heard this.
Yeah.
I read it today. When
Right.
you say once, you mean once ever?
Once ever.
Oh, that's just awful.
And
Yeah,
then the other one has to go
Yeah.
away
Forever.
forever.
So one you can still have forever. One you can have one more time.
Correct.
One you can never have again.
Correct.
beer, brisket, bacon.
That
One you can have
yours
forever.
is beer you can have forever.
Yeah.
And I don't think you give a shit about the other two.
Honestly,
That's very easy for me.
Hey, well, obviously,
Am I drinking
made-
bacon right now, or am I drinking beer?
I made
right
a
now?
poor decision on the actual friggin' choices.
Right, because no one's going to pick against bacon.
Right.
I
So
feel
what
like-
if I did bacon, sex, and your cell phone?
Well, cell phone's gone.
Oh, that's gone. Yeah.
no,
that's
wait,
easy.
no. Bacon's gone. I'm sorry.
Wait,
have a
wait.
cell
What'd
phone.
you say?
But I got to have sex, too, so...
Bacon, cell phone, sex.
Okay.
I'm keeping sex.
You can only keep one
You can marry one.
forever.
Are we talking this particular cell phone or any cell phone?
Any cell phone.
Like, I can't have... Like,
You can't have cell phones anymore. You're
how
stuck.
do I talk to people?
You're stuck to landlines.
have you ever heard of letters,
Yeah.
bud?
That's not a thing. People don't do that.
Dude, you ever heard that song?
How is
by
your
Sting?
penmanship?
Awful.
Letter in a bottle, man. Come on.
No.
So
But-
you're obviously keeping sex forever.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm not using my cell phone one more time, so I guess I'm having
is
bacon
that-
one more time.
Is that sex
one
with
more time with your
yourself
cell phone
or
doesn't
another
do
person?
shit.
Is that sex with yourself or another person? Because I think I could keep two at once.
You have such a different life.
Color me confused.
I don't even know about you, Alden, sometimes.
Let's talk about something else, fuckers.
All right, let's get into the barbecue fails. Anybody got any?
I got one.
Okay, well, let me ask. We got the new guy here.
Yeah, we...
Keegan.
Should we say...
Yeah, let's
Keegan.
introduce Keegan.
Yeah, we can really do an introduction here.
Introduce Keegan Moore. This is Jan. This is Jan's son.
This is Jan's son.
Jan
Jan-
had to...
Unexpectedly had to leave because,
It's just a little late, you know?
yeah, just a little late. Got to get those Z's in, I guess.
Correct.
So Keegan's jumping in and filling in the spot, which is super appreciative.
Correct.
Now, Keegan, you've had some experience doing a little grilling,
True.
doing some cooking, whether it's inside or outside or whatever. Do you, I mean, I know we're putting you on the spot. Do you have a notable kind of a fail or a win?
Oh, well, I mean, I have multiple wins. Humble brag here, guys.
Yeah.
But
Go for it.
I mean, I don't grill often, but when I do, it usually turns out pretty well. Except this one time with chicken. I'll be honest here. It did not go that well. Someone might have forgotten that it was on there for a little longer than it's supposed to be. Might have came out a little black.
Yeah.
You know what? We turned it to shredded chicken, just threw barbecue sauce on it. Called it a day.
Yeah. Hey, when in doubt, just cover it in sauce.
Yeah.
Right, blackened chicken with
Who was
little
this someone that
barbecue sauce.
forgot?
Oh man, we're talking about barbecue fells, so we're just gonna keep names anonymous.
Now, have you ever witnessed some of your dad's barbecue failed?
No, I've only heard stories of them,
Okay.
such as
Okay.
the spicy chicken and those other
Have
regrettable
we talked
things.
about that?
No, we haven't
Okay,
brought
yeah.
that up.
I'll go ahead and bring that up, and we can do that as the barbecue fail. So we're doing a competition,
One of our biggest
one of our biggest
competitions.
ones that we do, and it's Alvin.
Music festival.
Yeah, I'll get it out there. It's the Alvin Music Festival, and they have it every year, and there's some pretty good bands that come out there. Although, if we're gonna be honest, the last couple of years have been kind of like shaky. You
I don't
know,
know. Kyle Park was out there. I like that.
that was like 2
Was it 2 years ago?
years ago, 3 years. I mean, he was the best one, like the headliner
Yeah.
that came out there.
Honestly, once they get Joan Wolf out there, we're back in
They've had
business.
0 John Wolfs out there.
Jesus Christ.
They've had about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. They had Kevin Fowler.
That was 3 years ago. Yeah.
3 years ago.
That was the first year I was out there.
They rolled out some pretty heavy hitters. Ever since then, they're just kind of mailing it in.
Yeah, Spasmatics.
Spasmatics.
Shout out to Bag of Donuts, I believe. They played
Yeah,
there
yeah.
so long
And don't get me
ago.
wrong, they're all fun to listen to,
They're
but it's all
fun.
cover bands.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah, for sure.
Bag of donuts. No. Okay, so
Oh.
we do this this competition, and we're doing the chicken portion of it. And Jan, he likes spicy, and so he's on this kick. Hey, we got to get this chicken sweet and spicy. So Jan wanted to do this spicy, sweet chicken type deal, and starts rolling around in the chuck box, pulls out this Tabasco sauce, and which is it's not the traditional Tabasco sauce, and I know Tabasco sauce is not Alton's favorite.
Not at all. It's I don't like it at all. I mean, I've grown up with it, not as me eating it, but my sister loves it. My dad loves it. They put it on everything. I mean,
This was the scorpion sauce.
That's some hot stuff.
And it was pretty spicy.
Oh.
And so Jan was like, all right, let's do it. So he ended up getting a bowl and getting some little honey out and some little barbecue sauce and started dumping some of this scorpion Tabasco sauce. And I think Keegan's got it right now.
Doctoring it up.
Yeah. So he probably running it on about an hour of sleep from the day before. And then started drinking, as you do sometimes at the cook-offs. Maybe you start a little early because you're trying to get yourself picked back up or whatever. He's like, let me get some of that scorpion. I'll put a couple dabs. Well, we weren't paying attention. He was just going to town.
Yeah, he overdabbed.
He super dabbed that shit. And next thing you know, we mix it up. He tasted it. Oh, it's good. We're slathering our competition turn in. We slather the other pieces too as well, so we can try it. Box it up. Actually, we tried it before we boxed it up, but the sauce had already been put on it. There's no going back.
Right, you can't unsauce it.
You can't unsauce it. And so people started trying it other than Jan, and their mouths were lit.
And
up.
it seemed like the longer it sat on there, the hotter it got.
It was spicy. People were like, "Oh my god, that's too much."
Right? What does Alex refer to that chicken as?
I believe it was the devil's anus.
I was going to say
Yeah,
the devil's
Devil's anus.
Devil's anus chicken.
That sounds pretty
Jan's
hot.
like, it's good, man. It's not too spicy, but it's good.
As he's slobbering.
It was too
As
spicy.
he's slobbering.
His eyes watering. It's so good.
He's just like, that's pretty good. But I'm kind of I got it.
Jan's like, hey, whatever, man. Let's go turn it in. So he goes and turns it in, and he's sitting there in line. And as you turn in, there's like maybe one table or two tables that you can turn in, and then maybe two or three people that are taking boxes, and they got to open it up. They got to look at it and make sure you're not turning in just like a pile of turds or anything like that.
Right.
And so they open it up, look at it, okay, and then he turns around, and there's like probably about 3 or 4 people behind him. He's like, feel sorry for you guys turning in that. My stuff is so spicy. It's gonna burn their mouths. They ain't gonna have taste buds.
They won't taste anything else.
They ain't gonna taste yours.
But did we win?
We did not win.
We
But
did
you know
not
what,
win.
guys?
We did not win.
Did those judges remember that chicken? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah.
I'm sure it's.
Yeah.
They probably still remember.
Yeah,
that.
they're
Yeah.
talking about it on their own podcast right
They-
now.
They probably are. Yeah.
They went ahead and remembered it twice that day.
Yeah.
Correct.
That guy, that Judge Rick, whatever it is. I mean, he's probably in his garage right now, just like talking to whoever. Is like, hey, you remember that fucking chicken that I got at that cook-off at Alvin?
So damn hot.
That was so freaking hot. Like, what were those guys thinking?
Exactly.
Probably making a song about it with his guitar and everything. You know what I
Probably.
mean? So
But I think we did get like. Didn't you place well in the Open? Was that the same cook-off?
I don't know if that was the same year or not. That was, same
Second
cook-off.
year
I don't
or
know the
first
same
year?
year. It was second year.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was the same time or not. That was, second place in the Open. The year that I got the good placing in the Open was the same year we got second in ribs. So I don't know if that was the same year or not. I do have another barbecue fail for us, though.
All right. We'll hit him with another barbecue foul.
Boom, will do. This is Adam, and I think he's from North Carolina. Limeys_grill on Instagram.
Okay. I mean, that's a interesting Instagram handle. I mean, is that limeys?
Limeys. I don't really know what that means.
Isn't that slang for like
Is it like an Irish thing or
Like-
something?
British
Limeys?
or Irish or something like that?
Limeys.
I don't know. I think he's a pilot, though. I know that.
Okay.
For I don't know who, somebody. Anywho, he sent in this little story. Apparently, he was making ribs, and he's just fixing to wrap them up or whatever. So or maybe he's already wrapped them, whatever it is. He's fixing to give them the last spritz of apple juice, whatever he's putting on them, and reaches for the bottle, sprays it away, gets it a nice coverage, and then realizes that it is Windex. Because he had just finished cleaning some of his grills or whatever it is outside. So
That. I mean, I think he was just trying to make his ribs shine a little bit.
I was going to
Right,
say,
yeah, they
it's going to be super clear for sure.
Super streak free.
They were beautiful. I assumed they were. I didn't get a picture. I assumed they were beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess he said he thought about just rinsing them off and carrying on with them, but changed his mind and did not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would
which was
be-
probably the correct
I was
decision
gonna say,
at
he would
that
be
point.
poisoning people at that point.
Ain't trying
And that's
to,
exactly what he said. He
ain't
said
trying
he
to kill
figured he better
nobody.
didn't need to poison anybody for ribs. Which, if you're gonna get poisoned, that might be the way to go. But I'm gonna pass too. I'm gonna go ahead and pass. Maybe order a pizza.
yeah.
That's the go-to when you have a barbecue fail, right?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And then we do our competitions. We have a spritz that we put on our meats as well. And we've gone to a certain extreme of hiding what it is that we put on our meats.
It's not Windex.
It's not Windex.
It's Fabuloso.
And it's not Fabuloso, John, because people are going to put that on their shit and they're going to die.
Yeah,
I
not
mean-
Fabuloso.
Those covers, they just look so amazing. Yes, they look delicious.
Yes. But we'll hide it. We'll wrap something around our bottle because we don't want to see. We don't want you guys seeing what we're putting on ribs, because once you see it, you'll be like, I'm going to copy that.
Correct.
I'm going to shig it. The next thing you know, you're winning first place briskets. We don't want that. No, we do want that,
Yeah, we want you to get second.
for sure.
I mean, maybe get first place in your own separate competition.
Yeah, if we're not there, you can get whatever place you want.
Yeah.
So if you see me rolling around with the bottle of 409, spritzing it on my ribs or my brisket, it's not 409. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
But it's really 409. The chemicals cook right off, leaving you a great taste.
Disclaimer: do not put any cleaners on any of your
Yes.
meat.
Boy, we're going to have
Follow
a
the U.S. guidelines on the back of any product.
Correct.
I think that
If it
just
says poison, don't ingest it.
definitely. Always follow or practice safe barbecuing.
Yes. Couldn't have said better than myself. Couldn't have said it better myself. I did.
Is there an echo in here?
Hello? I mean, that's about all we got today. I mean, we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Check out the Instagram page. Check out the Facebook page, the Twitter page.
Yes.
I mean, we're all over. I mean, I think we're more active, more engaging on the Twitter.
Probably.
So hit us up. We'd love to hear the stories, whether you dads or pops or grandmas or whatever, burning down a house or setting a fire to your street or whatever. I mean, let us know. We'd love to feature it, and we'd love to discuss it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whatever your story is, win or fail.
Win or fail.
You cook something awesome and you just want to share it with us. Tell us how you made it. Send us a picture. Even we'll share it. That's totally cool.
Nice.
Anyhow,
Hey,
thanks for listening.
enjoyed it. Peace out, guys.
Oh, I'm out of here too, I guess. See you.
Adios, y'all.
Just grab 'em in the brisket.